people, and I don't think that happens very often.
And you've never wanted to get involved in it, to sort
No.
of put your own bit in it?
No. I think I'm better off where I am, screaming and hollering about this or that whenever I can.
Do you, I mean, acting is the main thing. Does it ever become an obsession? Does acting, I mean, to get to your position, does it have to be an obsession?
I think it has to be. Oh, yes.
And then what form does that obsession take?
Well, a slight form of stupidity when one is young. Egomania, stupidity. I think, first of all, I think that, and it's a dichotomy, because I think that a good actor has to be intelligent. I do not believe, maybe it's because I don't want to believe, I don't believe that acting is just a blind talent. I'll never forget having hours and hours of arguments with Truman Capote, who once said that actors are dumb. It's just an instinct that they have, a talent, a God-given talent, and so forth. I do not agree with that at all. I think that 90% of acting is a mental process. You have to be able to divine the character. There's 80,000 ways to play something, and especially when it's well written, and you keep peeling layers off it every day in rehearsals and out of town, and even after it's going. We're still finding things every night in Veterans Day, and hopefully things that are improving it. And it should be that way right up to the closing night, you know.
What about in terms of life outside? Like, what about your family? Do you ever put work before family? That sort of obsession?
They have to be able to put up with it, because it gets very obsessive. But when you're young, in a high-risk profession like this, you have to be intelligent, and yet you have to be dumb enough so that if someone came to you and said, look, you're starting out, we have put all of the data about the business itself and you and your attributes, your faults and everything into a computer, and it is absolutely correct. The chances of your making a living, let alone being as successful as you dream, are about 1,000,000 to 1. You have to be able to say, oh yeah, fine, I'll do it. Oh yeah. And I mean it. You have to be able to do that or you'll quit, you see. And sometimes you should, but you don't. I mean, it can take years before you reach a point, no matter what experience you're getting in what we call summer stock, which is basically rep, a little TV, a little of this, a little of that. You could go for years, and maybe you're making some kind of a living. Usually you have to moonlight. But until you get a decent part, well written, with a good cast, and a good director, and well mounted, you really don't know whether you can cut it or not, you know? And how long might that take? Could take a long, long time, and you may never know. But without that kind of determination, I don't think you'll keep it up. I don't think you will have the, you know, the guts to do it.
What frightens you about that? I mean, is there an inbuilt insecurity that affects you?
I don't believe that any actor who says he's totally secure is telling the truth. And I doubt that he'd be very good. I really don't. I think insecurity and fear, I work on fear. I know that. When I read a part, and I didn't realize it until Days of Wine and Roses. And I read that part, and, oh Jesus, that is something else. And I also had done so many comedies at that early point in film, that I was really looking for a good drama because I didn't want to get pigeonholed, especially in America we tend to do that. Put a label on it. If it's Lemmon, it's got to be a comedy, etc. No studio would touch it because they all felt it was sort of downbeat and, you know, a young couple would turn into raving drunks and there's no upbeat ending and so forth. It wasn't a, quote, Hollywood, unquote, film. Nobody would touch this thing, and it went around for about a year or more. And finally, we just gave up. Blake Edwards, who directed it, and Lee Remick and I, and a curious sense of relief came over me, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then suddenly I realized I was afraid that I couldn't play it well enough. And then I became more determined. And I don't say this is a great thing on my part, but I realized that, oh my God, no, you'll rationalize forever. You know, someone brings you a Hamlet or whatever, and you'll find some reason not to do it when basically it's because you're afraid of it. I think you do better work when you're a little apprehensive about a part. You really do. Now, when I read a script now and I'm slightly undecided, I make sure in my mind, am I really kind of afraid I won't be able to get that sucker? You know, or enough of it. You never get all of it, or I don't. But if I really feel that, that will make me all the more tend to say, yes, I'll do it, or try it. Because the other thing I found out is that failure doesn't do a damn thing wrong. If anything, it makes you a little stronger. It's the fear of failure that will keep you from doing things. And you just go along and play it safe. You'll go down Main Street, so to speak, but you won't take a look at all the little muses and
have you ever played it safe? Have you ever done that? Have you actually ever not said, I just won't do that? Or have you always...
Oh, I have, but for, I think, legitimate reasons, where
Right.
I just didn't want to do it.
But not fear of
because
failure.
it just didn't grab me. I was not that excited about playing the part. If you're playing, excuse me, there's certainly nothing wrong, my God, in an actor playing a part for the job. He has to. My God, he has to eat. I'm talking about the good fortune I've had, and that many of us have had, where you do get to a point where you don't have to do it for that reason. Then what I was saying applies, you see. Then I would turn something down, because I don't think if I'm excited about it, I'm going to do very good work. And I also don't think it's going to stretch me at all if I'm playing something I feel I've played before, or many aspects of the part, and start doing that over and over. And also I'll end up again in that niche I was talking about, of, oh, it's a, quote, Jack Lemmon part. God, I hope that doesn't happen.
What were your feelings when you got Veterans Day? Because the response to Veterans Day has been, from the critics, disappointing. Yeah. What was your first impressions of the play? Do you know how a play is going to be?
No, you can't, there is absolutely no way of knowing what's going to happen. When I read the play, I was very puzzled by it, but I was also provoked by it. I thought it was wonderful that it was an anti-war play, which it obviously is. What got me were many aspects of the character. And I thought, ooh, this is very interesting, to start out playing really the prototype of the ugly American. I mean, there is no saving grace with this idiot. Jesus, God almighty, all he worships is money. He's really not that bright or anything, but he has what we in America call street smarts, meaning that he can get out there and hustle on the street, you know, and make a living. He can divine how to handle people. Stands upside down doing television commercials to sell his cars, and somehow it works. You know, he's an idiot. Insensitive, bigoted. He's got everything wrong with him. But somehow you've got to find a way to come full circle, and at the end, see a man who's stripped down, and who has some humanity, some sensitivity that we did not think was there, and make an audience care, or the whole evening's going to go right in the toilet. Well, that was challenging to me.
And so
that's why I wanted to do it.
You look at it from an actor's point of view, not as the play as a whole. So, because people criticize the play, but
that's right, they did.
Right.
Now, with the play itself, I was confused but provoked, as some people still are, and as the critics were. It works, thank God, because audiences, you know, they're still coming in there, and they'll be coming in until December 9th, the end of the run. And you get the feedback afterwards, you know, in mail and from people coming around to the stage door and talking and everything, and they're all very excited, and thank God for it. But basically, you never know what is going to happen. I don't care how bright you are. There would be no flops if everybody could read a play and say, that's going to be a hit, you know. There's no such thing. I don't know how common it is here, but my God, in my lifetime, I would love to have $1 for every time I have seen inordinately talented people, writers, directors, and actors, and producers, mount a show on Broadway, eminently successful people, very talented and bright, and close in one night. One night. I think it happens much more often in America than it does here. But is that because of the critics? They might run for a few weeks, yes. Yeah. Because they got universally bad reviews on the play, and nobody could save it, whatever, and bang, that's it. They won't continue to put any more money into it, advertising or doing anything else and running it. They close the next night. And you wonder, how the hell did these people get involved in that turkey, you know?